This week we're going to talk about information architecture, as well as making, editing, and deleting pages and creating your navigation in your website. So to start off, information architecture is how you organize and present information in ways that will allow your clients or your end users to be able to locate what they need very quickly. Now, a lot of times people know how or what they want to put on their websites, but they don't really know how they want to organize things. And that's really key, because if people can't find things, there's really no point to having a web presence at all. So I want to take a look at one of the sites you're probably pretty familiar with. This is the Texas A&M website, and let's take a look at how they organize their information. It's probably pretty clear once you get into a university that each department is going to have its own little section that talks about what it does and how to contact it and things like that. But how to access or how to organize that information is really where people get tripped up, because every department wants their page, every department wants their message, so you know what has to go in there, but how will you make it so people can actually find what they're looking for? That's what gets a little bit tricky. So you can see here that Texas A&M San Antonio website, and actually at this point most institutions are organized this way, is organized by having the different audiences that are going to look at the site. So we know that current students, if we go down here, these are the things that they're going to be interested in. And they have all of these dividers. Faculty and staff are probably going to have some of the similar things. Ugh. You can tell they were designed by two totally different people, can't you? Future students are going to have some of the same things that current students want. For instance, they may be interested in finding about scholarships and financial aid. So in each one of these different audiences, there is going to be some overlap, which justifies this being all in one website. If there is completely different overlap, like future students do not want to see anything at all related to current students, then we would probably want to make two completely different websites for these different audiences. But whenever there is overlap, then you just have to figure out how you're going to make your navigation, so you only have to enter the information once, but both audiences can find the information in the way that makes sense to them. So you can see down here they kind of have it broken down in a different way. And I bet these admission links are going to show up under future students for sure. They may show up in other places too. So there is overlap in these two different types of architecture that they have, but they're trying to find a way to deliver things that make sense. So the first step that you're going to do in deciding how to make your information make sense is you're going to make an outline. For instance, here I outlined, you can see just some of the information from that website. And you can see that I put as the headings the different audiences. If you're going to have very clear audiences and they're going to have a lot of links with overlaps, this is one thing that you may actually choose to do. However, let's say that this would be my personal website. I could organize by categories, because somebody who is looking for me to hire me as a web developer, they would go in, they would look at the web development link. Somebody who is looking for me as an instructional designer would hit this. My students would hit teaching. So there are different ways that I can organize. I don't have to necessarily organize directly by client, but you have to think of how do you want to organize it so that you only have about 5, no more than 7 links across the top in your main menu. So what is the way that you're going to allow people to find the information that they need the most quickly? Generally, when you outline your information, these headers are going to be the main items in your menu. So again, let's take a look. If we organize our information by future students, current students, those are the things that are in the Texas A&M menu. I believe really this is where I see the most failure in websites. If it's not properly organized, and software, and you'll see software and websites are always trying to refine this, and they'll be changing their menus and things like that, trying to make things more and more obvious in their structure. But this is where I see the most failure in websites, because nobody properly sat down and thought about how to organize their information or their information architecture, and then people can't find anything. And there's no point to having a gorgeous website if your audience cannot find the information that they need and you cannot inspire the behavior in your audience. So this week I want you to start actually making an outline that has these types of things in here, that organizes what you want in your page. Now I know you're not going to get far enough to actually dig down and create a really heavy duty outline, but start doing this. And the way you can do this, and I have you doing the Standing on the Shoulders of Giants assignment, where you look at other sites that have the same purpose as yours. Please pay special attention into how they organize their information. What do they have in their site, and how is it organized? Could you do it better? Are there things you would like to do the same as them? And that's okay if you do. You cannot trademark or copyright information architecture or ideas. That's not trademarkable or copyrightable. So you can go ahead and structure your information like somebody else's. That's okay. So pay special attention to that as you are looking at other sites that are related to the way that you, or related to the purpose that you want to deliver in your website. Okay, let's get into our website now. Let me move this over here. Okay, so again, I have more junk in here than you're going to have, so don't worry about it. Since this is the master site. The way you add and edit pages, we talked about this a little bit earlier when we were talking about creating static versus blogging pages. But here in your dashboard, you have pages, and you can see all your pages. You can also see that you can add new pages. So that's one way you can add new pages. The other is by clicking this and adding new pages. And I went ahead and created, oh, I'm on the wrong page. I want to be on my demo page. Confused me there for a second. This one is the one I want. There we go. Okay, all pages. Okay, so these are the pages that I connected here that I've created for this site. And if we go in and we take a look at this site, visit, you can see that I have home, news, sample page, teaching. And what I want to have happen is I want teaching to have a site, and then I want this Texas A&M San Antonio under teaching, and I want to put NVC under there also. So I want to create sub-menus. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to do things like that. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. I'm going to go take a look at my pages again. I have this teaching. I want to go ahead. I want to bump this over. So I'm going to say edit. And right now you can see that this says that it has no parent. I want to go ahead and put that under teaching as a parent. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. I also want to add a new page because I also teach at NVC. And my NVC students and my Texas A&M San Antonio students probably, I teach different classes at both places. So Let's go ahead and publish this. We always have to hit that publish button. I forgot to tell it it's a parent. So let me show you another place where we can talk about structuring the parent-child relationship. So the other place where we can do that is going into our menus. So I'm going to go to Appearance, Menus. And you can see here that my teaching is right here, but my Texas A&M, even though it's showing up as a child over here, I can tell by being indented. It's not indented here, so it's going to show up on my primary website, which I'm actually going to call this one. We can create a new menu and call it primary. This is by default my primary website. So I'm going to move this under my teaching. You see, I just held down my mouse button and drug it over, and now it's indented. And you can see my NVC page did get automatically added, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this right there. So you can see teaching is here and these two are indented. I want to delete this sample page, so I'm going to hold down on this menu and remove it because I don't want that to show up. Whoop, I got news and not NVC, so let's move that. That is being really stubborn. Let's move this out. There we go. And so now, by just dragging things around, I have home twice, I see. Let's remove that. Home, news, teaching. This is the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create that menu. Now if I go ahead in here, I visit my site, teaching, oops, and NVC did not show up under there. I may have to tell it that it's a child of that. Go back to the dashboard. Or I could go directly to menus from there, you can see. Oh, I want to tell this that this is always going to be called my primary menu. I'll go ahead and save that, but that's not why my NVC is not showing up. It's really odd. There. Now the NVC is showing up. I must have just had to kick it. Sometimes, for reasons, I don't know if it's just making the changes, if the databases are a little bit slow, or if you forget to hit the save buttons, every once in a while you have to go back and kick things again. Now the point to the parent-child in this instance is probably has to do with having a template similarity or something like that, and it really is going to be different depending on the different templates. Anyway, let's go back to menus. I'm going to access menus directly from here at this point. So I can have secondary menus. If you remember going back here with Texas A&M, this is their primary menu, and then this is their secondary menu. You can, depending on your template, you can put that secondary menu in different places. Okay, let's talk about different things that we can have in this menu. Remember that I wanted to put in my information architecture, I wanted to have a link to my YouTube account. So I'm going to go in here and let's go to YouTube. And I'm already in. Let's see what my channel is. I'm just going to copy that URL. And now I can go in here and I can make custom links. And just call this YouTube. So I have that right there. Now, let's say that I want to have this teaching, because say teaching isn't going to have its page, but I want to have it as a category so that I can open up these two sublinks, but I don't want teaching itself to be a page. I just want it to be a category. So how would I do something like that? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another custom link. And instead of putting the link in here, I'm just going to put a hashtag. And I can call it teaching. I'm going to drag these guys under here. I'm going to remove this one. So there we go. Now if I had some categories, like I wanted to have a Texas A&M thing, categories show up in my heading, and then all of my posts that had been assigned to that category would show up, I could select this and add it to the menu. I don't really want to do that, but if I did, that would be there. If I had a post that was super duper important and I wanted that to go in there, I could select that. So you can see you can put a lot of things in your menu. Now if you want to create a completely different menu, I can go ahead, whoops, let me stay on page and save this since I've made changes. Now I could go ahead here and let's give it a new menu. I can call it left menu. Let's say I wanted to do that. And maybe over here I want my categories. So what I'm going to do is say categories, add to menu, WordPress, add to menu. Now this right here, the primary menu, you always want that to be the menu that's going to be, well, depending on your theme, but I've never really seen a theme that did not have the menu across the top. That's generally where the primary is. Since I don't want this one to be there, I'm not going to put that. And this automatically add new top level items to the page. That is whenever you have a parent or a page, it will automatically dump in there. I don't want to do that to this menu either. Now this menu actually was going to be the same as using a categories widget that we are going to get into later, but let's say that we had some purpose for this website. I can go ahead, save this menu. There it is. And then I could use that menu at a later date. So really this is all that we are doing. Oh, let's go in and take a look. One more thing. I just want to make sure we cover the pages, but pages and menus and information architecture are what we are concentrating this week upon. I want to make sure that you know that in here, once you get in, you add with the add button. You can edit your pages by hitting these edits. You delete your pages by hitting the trash, and that moves things over and you're set like that. If I want to edit this and make sure that it's a child of that teaching, I'm going to go ahead and edit. Go down here, tell the parent, I'm going to go and have the teaching be the parent. There are also pages that have a slider is a thing that will develop, have pictures or content that slides across the front of the page. I don't want that in this particular thing. Different templates will have different options, or different themes will have different page template options. Updating. I want to get rid of this sample page, so I'm just going to trash it. Now you can see how easy it is, even if you don't have your information totally laid out exactly how you're going to want it. This is going to be very easy to change as the semester goes on, so have no fear in doing something now that you are not really confident that it's going to be your end result. That's okay. The joy of WordPress is how easy it is to go ahead and change things and I can rename things if I want to very simply. So don't feel like you make something and you're stuck with it forever. Just like your theme, these things can be changed super easy. So fear not. Go ahead, let me know if you have any problems, if you have any questions, and enjoy this week's assignments.